Yo, what up? It's B-Cide here. Now, I've been a Green Day fan since 1994. Not casually, not jumping in during a trend. I grew up with their records. I watched them change album by album, era by era. So, what I'm about to say isn't coming from hate or outrage. It's coming from respect and from being an artist myself. And before anything else, let me say this: Green Day has always been political. Anyone pretending this is new is wrong. Politics has always been baked into their music for decades. And that's not really the issue right now. The issue is how the politics are framed now. Okay? When American Idiot came out, it hit during a very specific moment: the Bush era, the Iraq War, fear driven media. A lot of people my age were angry. And honestly, I was aligned with that anger at the time. But that album wasn't about pledging loyalty to a side. It felt like a critique of power, of systems, of manipulation. It was punching up at authority and control, not sorting people into neat boxes. That's where things feel different now. Now, I'll tell you, there's a lyric shift that really stands out to me. The original line talked about not being part of a redneck agenda. Later, it gets changed to not being part of a MAGA agenda. Now, this isn't about defending MAGA. I'm not a MAGA person. What I'm talking about right now is punching down. When you take a massive complicated group of people and flatten them into a slogan, that stops being punk rock. Punk was never about reducing people to labels. That kind of framing could be applied to any group, unfortunately. Gay people, trans people, any group at all. You don't actually know people just because they fall under a label. There are good people and bad people in every group. Always have been, always will be. And once art starts treating entire groups of people like a punchline, it stops challenging power and starts reinforcing division. Now, that's the shift that bothers me as a fan and an artist, actually. And I see the same thing play out in real life. And here's what it is: people come into my TikTok lives all the time and throw labels at me. They'll say liberal, they'll say Democrat, stuff like that. Nobody ever says Republican. And I always laugh because if you actually listen to my music, you would know that I'm a registered Republican. So whatever argument they think they're having, it doesn't even have a base. Now, that's the problem with labels. They replace listening. They replace thought. They flatten people into something easy to dismiss. And punk, at least the punk I grew up with, never did that. Punk went after hypocrisy. It went after power. It went after control, regardless of which side it lived on. When artists only attack in one direction, it feels safe, predictable, almost branded. And that's what's disappointing as a fan. I still love the music. I still respect what Green Day meant. But knowing how sharp they used to be makes one-sided framing feel lazy by comparison. Art doesn't need to be neutral, but it should be fearless. And when art becomes partisan instead of confrontational, it loses some of its danger. Truth doesn't belong to one side of politics. You can love a band and still critique them honestly. This isn't about canceling anyone. It's about holding artists to the same standard that they set themselves to. So, I'm curious what you think. What should art be challenging right now? And can it still be honest when it only punches in one direction? So leave me some comments, let me know what you think. I'm not trying to start a whole political debate. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm looking at this as of a fan of a band that's been around since the 90s and somebody that I've been a fan of since the 90s. So if you got something to add, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and stay strong, stay wicked. It's B-Cide. Peace out.